During the Feast of Unleavened Bread is another moed or appointment that is known as the Barley Firstfruits. It is to be celebrated the day after the weekly Sabbath. You can see this in Leviticus 23 verses 10 through 11. The children of Israel were to bring their designated barley firstfruits to the temple to be weighed before the Lord. So the farmer would actually designate part of his crop as firstfruits and bring it to the temple, give it to the priest, and the priest will weigh that barley before the Lord to be accepted of him. It's a similar process 50 days later that will occur on the wheat firstfruits that is known as Shavuot or Pentecost. We'll talk more about that feast at another time. This barley firstfruit moed is the time that Messiah rose from the dead. Now you got to understand that the days in the Hebraic concept begins in the evening. So late that Saturday night, Yeshua would have rose from the dead. So when the women went to the tomb Sunday morning to find him and he wasn't there, there's a good chance that Yeshua had already risen from the dead hours before. 1 Corinthians 15:20 tells us, "But now is Messiah risen from the dead and become the first fruits of them that slept." Yeshua is the first one to die and to rise from the dead in a new resurrected body. So he is called the first of the firstfruits. Many others also rose from the dead after his resurrection, as we learn in Matthew 27 verses 52 through 53. "And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city and appeared unto many." So on this moed of barley firstfruits, it appears that many others were also resurrected. We don't know who these others were. And we don't know if they were resurrected like Lazarus, only to die again, or were they resurrected in new incorruptible bodies. This we do not know. But I'd like to believe that they are part of the body of the barley firstfruit resurrection. It's certainly possible they could be with those who are in what is called Abraham's bosom. Now, Abraham's bosom is where the righteous went and waited for the Messiah to come. So when Yeshua died, he may have appeared to those in Abraham's bosom and brought with him those that were waiting on him, because even they needed the Messiah to be forgiven of their sins. The barley firstfruit is just one of three agricultural concepts. You have the barley, you have the wheat, and you have the fall feast around tabernacle of a greater harvest. Now, these other feasts these gatherings are spiritually represent people being presented to the Lord. To have a firstfruit gathering, there must be a future larger harvest. More than likely, the firstfruit moedims are representative of future rapture or raptures of the saints and of those who dwell in the inner court of God's house. Exodus 23:19 tells us, "The first of the firstfruits of your land you shall bring into the house of the Lord your God." Remember that the Apostle Paul told us first the natural and then the spiritual. So we must look at these feasts in a way to understand that there are spiritual applications taking place. So spiritually speaking, it is only the first of the firstfruits that are actually brought into the house of the Lord our God. This is speaking of the inner court of God's house as shown in Moses' tabernacle. We are told in Revelation 2:26 through 27 that those who overcome will rule the nations with the Messiah with a rod of iron and sit on a throne with Messiah, as seen in Revelation 3:21, which says, "To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. The throne of God and the Messiah is in the inner court, which also will be the habitation of overcomers and the first of the firstfruits. Not everyone who says, 'Lord, Lord,' will sit with Messiah in his kingdom." Hi, Pastor Allan here. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like the video and leave comments below. If you want more of this content, I would encourage you to subscribe.